have another one of my good friends from Uzes here with me for you to meet. And it's Jim Lesser. He happens to be an American.
Hello.
And we've gotten together this year and been trying to do French together. And
Yes.
because Jim speaks French and I still don't. But I wanted to introduce you to Jim because Jim is one of the first people that I've known that's been involved in fractional home ownership here in France. And he's actually one who had to decide whether he wanted to rent or buy or how he wanted to enter into France because he was just beginning to want to live here.
Right.
So instead of me telling your story, let you talk about you.
Okay. Well, what happened was, I visited the south of France, Provence specifically, several times. Loved it. Loved the lifestyle. And as I was getting closer to retirement, I thought it would be nice to own a home there that I could spend part of my time here in France. So I started looking for homes that I could buy and then possibly rent out to other people, like an Airbnb or something like that. And the prices in Provence were high, or it needed so much work that the construction costs and everything were prohibitive. So I thought, if I cross the Rhone River into this section of France, where the Pont de Gare is, and Nîmes and Uzès, maybe the prices would be a little bit more reasonable. And I still wasn't having a lot of success. I had, sort of a limit on what I was willing to buy or pay. And then I just going through internet listings, I found a fractional home 15 minutes from the Pont de Gare. It was very reasonable. You got to use the house for 4 weeks a year. There would be, when the house was completed, there would be 13 owners, each with their own share. And it was a home that was built in the 1500s, and it was part of the history of
Had
the
all
little
the charm.
little
Yeah.
town. It was right on the village square where there was a 3 day a week market. So I wavered back and forth whether I was going to do it, and my friend said, "Well, if it doesn't work out, sell it." And I'm like, "Oh, you're right. I can always get out of it if it doesn't."
So how long were you there?
I was there 8.5 years.
Oh my, must
Yeah.
have worked out.
It did.
Yeah.
I loved it.
What did you like the best?
I loved the immersion, the sense that you were no longer a tourist. You actually were a resident. And I got to know the local artisans and the people in the boulangerie and the markets, and made some friends. I got to use it as a jumping off point to explore other parts of France.
Right. Well, how would you compare that to if you had just rented the same house? If you were lucky enough to be able to go somewhere and rent a house, every year, did you feel that ownership meant something to you?
Yes, that was really key.
Okay.
And in fact, I did become the manager of the house.
Okay.
So I got to meet.
I think there's a song about that.
Oh, really?
In the house. Anyway.
Honestly, so yeah, being an owner was very different. You don't. I did eventually decide that I wanted to have a more permanent residence here, and I have since sold my shares. I had 2 shares in the house
Right.
at the time. Sold my shares and bought a permanent home nearby. So I stayed in the area.
Yeah.
I love this area.
Yeah. And you've kept good friends with
I
all the people that are
did.
there. I mean, they're like your best buddies.
Yeah, so I have like this rotating set of friends that just come live in their own home,
Yeah.
but I can socialize with them and we go do things together. It's great.
I'm sold. I
Yeah.
think it's a great way to be here. That's why I'm so interested
And
in
it's a
encouraging other people
it's
to
a
look
great
at
way
it.
to dip your toe
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the pond without having to make a huge
Yeah,
financial investment. The price was very reasonable.
And it's
I
a
loved it.
U.S. It's a whole U.S.
Yes,
sort of
it's,
procedure to buy, to sell, well, I don't know about selling, but to buy it, you go through. It's
an LLC.
American LLC. And
Yeah.
With an American company.
So yeah, you're buying
Yeah.
into an American
Right,
LLC,
right.
and so inheritance rules and
Right.
all of that sort of stuff cover you. You can,
Stuff you're
but you
familiar
can
with.
sell it as you wish,
Right.
when you wish. I mean, there are certain things you can't do. There are bylaws
Right.
for the organization. You can't sublet.
Right.
You
Okay.
can't. You can't rent your share time out to other people.
But you could to family. like if you
You
had-
could let them use
use
it,
it,
but
got it.
financial transactions are
Okay,
verboten.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, thank you for sharing that with us.
Oh,
I'm glad
very happy to be here.
have you, and have you for my friend.
Oh, thank
and
you.
also glad that you decided to stay here because I'm here more than 1 month or 2 months out of the year nowadays.
Right.
So glad
Right.
that we've gotten to know each other. And
Yeah.
thank you again for joining me.
My pleasure.